Here is the doors I was telling you about. There's still a bit of ivy that we've got to clear down. There's a ramp goes down here, and there was where we found that sand pit with the toys. There was a lean-to roof. This was a lean-to building. There was a lean-to roof on it, and just in there is where I believe that the family had lived that worked in the mill. Now, as you remember, when there was no such thing as an education there, you got an education when you live with a family, you work with a family. So from the age of 6, even 5, you were working there. But back then, it would be like today's tech market. It was one of the highest paid jobs in Ireland was flax. It was well paid, and anyone that was working on the flax mill were well looked after by their employers, including living on the premises. So if you can see behind me, there is the gigantic chimney. Now that is the new structure. The brick that you saw in the arch in the old building was the same time when they had the construction team in and they built that giant structure there. This was the original mill, and then over there is the hydraulic and steam mill. We'll have a look at that in a minute, but I want to bring you here and I want to show you what I found. So this thing, as I continue to walk up to the building, it brings you upstairs to the top of the building. The good news about this building is that this was an old way of loading and unloading your stock, which I never knew, but this was called a loading bay. And all it is a mound of muck against the building, right upstairs to the production. And the production channel goes straight up right below where the water actually travels. So below my feet is actually where the water well comes from. So again, I want to show you over here. Took the digger to it there only 3 months ago. It's all grown over again, but there's some of it still sitting spare. Under here is where the water traveled to the major water wheel that we have. It came from, how it happened, I still can't get my head around it. I thought I knew it all, but I clearly don't know it all. There's water that comes at a level, and it is bubble level, but it looks like a height, but it is bubble level. The water used to come from that green field over there into a big chute. There she's there. And of course she's grown over already, which means I have to get it. If I go in here, down here, this little hole, it's all stone. I can't show you that much. I'll maybe pull it back when I get the digger back in. There is a big chute that has water, and the water collects here. In the winter it was wet and damp, couldn't understand it, but it goes into this hole just here, and as you can see, I think animals are using it. There she's there. There's a start stone here. Look, there she is. She goes underneath there and up there into the water wheel housing. Amazing. And these are all big Mourne granite. They're not even carved stone, because it was back in the 1800s. They just got a piece of stone and covered it over the big chute to protect the water as it hit the massive water wheel, which turned the industrial machinery of its day to thrash flax plant into linen to go off to be put into sheets, handkerchiefs, uniforms, the whole lot, clothes, massive industry. And we are in the dead center of what they call the Irish triangle of linen. It's a trade gone, long gone. All the mills are gone. I want to make sure that this girl has major reminders of our trade, of our industry, which made Northern Ireland the country it is today. I'll not say too much about that. Anyway, so top of the loading bay, you can see some of the work that I've done here. If we could see on this side, I could show you around here. We've got this beautiful curve of stone. And you couldn't see it until you brought the digger down. When you cleared the whole area, there's a massive wall of stone. And that makes sense to the ramp that's sitting here. The ramp is built by a stone foundation that's built up and then soiled in between for the ramp. But it serves several purposes. It holds a foundation against the building. And there's it there. Some of it's gone, some of it's eroded, but it enters into the building, holds this wall up here. Goes down pretty far. But down below, that same water is vented, and it comes out and goes into big giant holes down here into them little tiny water wheels that I mentioned earlier in that pit. There's 2 chutes there, go straight through. I would love to have some sort of system where I could push the water through. Maybe we'll do it. Maybe we'll do it for the fun. I'll get loads of water, and I'll sploosh it to see it where it comes out and see if it works. It'd be nice to see water coming out. I'd love to replace the water wheel, but we may only do just one, which is over here in the big hydraulic one. Not hydraulic, I tell a lie. It's steam combustion. Hydraulic is later. Okay, so let's go to the second mill. First of all, we'll start from the water chute and then we'll work our way back. As you can see, if you want to swing yourselves around, and if you can see over here, there was an existing building that used to be over there, and it used to go over to that territory that no longer belongs to the property. It's been taken away and demolished. There are remnants of the original water chute and the water carrier. That big square building that's sitting there, maybe 3 or 4 stone high, is a massive water chute, and I will show you that. But it led to this thing that's sitting flat. If you see this clay, and just above that used to be a massive steel pipe, cast iron steel pipe. There's still remnants of it. Again, I'd love to replace it. But let's go and have a look at the girl over here. When I first bought this, the entire building was covered with vines of ivy. It was a complete nightmare. It took us maybe 4 weeks to get the ivy off. We had 2 gentlemen that work for us, you'll see in the videos. They helped me pull that down and trim that back. But as you can see, the roof is gone. But if you look, the corbels are still there. The stone corbels are up there. There are a couple of foundation issues, cracks, but I think I can work these. We can strap these and put these back into play. Get these all strengthened, get them strapped, properly strapped and then plastered in. There's a window here, which is the most weirdest area for a window. But again, there's a bit of work there, a bit of fencing, I don't know where that's come from. Oh, hold on, that belonged to him. Oh, our neighbour puts our fencing there. That was good of him. Back in the old days, there used to be an arch here. There used to be an arch somewhere here. We don't know what happened with it. We were told by the original owners, they pulled it down to get a mobile caravan here so they could live on the caravan. So they ripped the wall out here, and the remnants of the brick that used to be are all sitting here with ivy over them. They tried to build like a temporary fencing system, but sadly, this was the produce of them. Sad, very sad indeed, that they've destroyed history. The idea really is, and again, I'll probably try and do a video of this, is to build an arch. I hope I can learn how to do this. It's not something I've done before, is build a massive stone arch from the 1800s. I have to investigate, I have to look at old buildings and how they did it, and look at plans on how we build this massive structure to put these massive stones on top of the structure and have a final stone, a keystone, to hold it all together. I don't know how they did it, but they did it. Okay, so we'll go through to the next part of the building. These were brand new gates, and someone reversed into them. Not my people. What I've noticed that in this property, there's been a lot of interest from the locals, and they seem to come on top of the property a lot. I'm not really concerned about that. I just hope they sometimes leave my property the way they found it. Turns out they don't know how to reverse. The diggers have to come back in and give it another clearing. We're sitting on about 1.5 acres here. Maybe, possibly 2, but I would say 1.5 acres being conservative. And the idea really is, if I reconstruct that building over there with its big gigantic barn house and replace that as a dwelling, rebuild this, the new mill, the newest of the 2 mills, into a property, rebuild and restore that to a property, and then over in that corner over there, I build another property. So I have 4 properties here that I could possibly flip, and I'm hoping for in the region of ticket prices of about 350 to 500,000, depending on the quality that I use of the finish. This is a piece of history, so as a consequence to that, there's a bigger ticket price for this. And let's continue. Here is the 1800 or the early 1900s mill, late 1800s, early 1900s. This was an addition to the active working mill over there from the mid 1800s. So they extended their business. They kept on getting bigger. These 2 brothers, I can't remember their name, where the 2 brothers worked together. One was married to a teacher. I can't remember the census information, but they extended the mill from this area here. This actually is the water mill in this building here, and it produced a beautiful chute of water, and I'll show you. Come into my dark room. When I first acquired this property, we first had so much tools and equipment here. There was a big disposal going on. The gentleman that used to live here didn't care about taking any of his stuff with him, so we had the misfortune of having to clear everything out. Most of it junk, very few of it any of any use. There's a nice rake that I got for free. Well, I paid it for the building. And there's a couple of broken bottles that weren't broken before, but now are broken. I assume a member of staff decided to put that down. Again, irrelevant. There is a massive water chute that comes down through here. It's the waste chute, or the by chute. This is known as I can't remember exactly the name for it, but the water came down here at a fast rate when it was bypassed through this gigantic chute and out of the building. Now, as you can see outside, including the old mill, there's no rivers. What they done was they built tunnels underground. We found them tunnels, not the one in the old one because that's the entrance and I can't really afford to dig in there yet to explore that. The tunnel that belongs to the new one is here. And we decided to go and explore. I pulled a few digger scoops out and there it was. I hit granite underneath, massive granite slabs. There they are there. Big giant granite stones that are going way down. These are just the caps for them. I decided it was too close to the building. I couldn't afford to have them sitting here, so I done a sample. Now, the good news was the sample decided to find me. I didn't find the sample dig point. We had a fire in the middle of the ground and a hole appeared. And it was quite funny because that hole went, when we dropped a stone into it, it went bloop into water. And we went, there it is, we found it, and here it is. So we dug it out, and if you have a look here, there is one of the granite slabs. Looking right at it into a beautiful underground water tunnel. Now, again, I put stone underneath here because this actually did cave. The reason why the hole found me, because one of the big granite side walls has caved in. I don't know how much it is, but every single bit of this muck, all of this here has to be scraped, cleaned back, pulled to the side so I can see the totalitarian issues, or even it's probably perfect other than here. These gigantic slabs are going to be pulled out and we're going to restore this tunnel. We're going to restore it. I might even keep it open. And with these slabs, I built a giant bridge just about here for access to the property there. And it'll be made from them slabs. We'll use these as sleepers around the river, and I want to reactivate the water. How I'm going to do that is through simply by getting a water tank and having a pump feed the water tank, constantly feeding water, because that side of the feed of the water is dead. It's no longer here. It goes all the way to that building there, which is known as the Flax house. That was the master's house. So there was a family of 6 lived in there. Good religious Presbyterian, allegedly, according to the data on the census. And they all lived in that house with 1 bedroom. Amazing. I still don't get it. The staff lived over there and the gentry lived there. Great house to live in. They then moved to a property just north of here by about 300 meters at the top of the road. This building is quite intact. It's very little wrong with it. I will show you that building in the future. But we are going to pull all the land out and get it back to its original stone. It's going to be a great episode. That is something we look forward to, because I don't know what I'm going to find when we get the magnets in there, in the water. What am I going to pull up? I have no idea. So the original flax mill, or the new flax mill, is this girl here. It was used as living quarters for the tenant, or for the occupants prior to my purchase. They lived here. It was a sorry state. I really don't understand why they done nothing to resolve the conditions they lived in, but it was, to me, it was hardship for them. They couldn't wait to get out. When I bought it off them, they escaped as quick as they could. They just took 2 suits of clothes with them, and away they went into the new house that I prepared for them. I have the front door. As we can see, people have been coming and going by the looks of it. The people are walking on the thing, so people have been trying to get into the property. And I'm glad that I screwed it shut. Yep, it's still screwed shut. I have 2 screws in there because people were trying to get in. So we'll have to go around the back. But again, As I can see, people have been walking and they've probably tried the back as well. So hopefully they haven't rogued this property. It's quite a cool property inside. I ask you to bear in mind that people lived here only 6 months ago, and have a look for yourself. So we'll go around. This property used to be all covered in ivy as well. And as you can see, they used to have very tall windows, but the previous occupants decided to put these small windows in and then block it off. I don't know how I'm going to restore it, but I might. I don't know what I'm going to do. It's such a beautiful building. I want to bring it back to its original standard. But we've plans for this girl. We've good plans for her. A lean-to, which is currently all blocked off, and they used the previous occupants used what they call a downpipe for their waste poo, which is absolutely horrific because it went into what I refer to as an open pit. That technical term for an open pit with poo and waste is known as a cesspit. There's a cesspit behind. I hope it's decayed enough for us to know it, but we'll take a look. So, come on through. Let's follow the people by clearly they're walking down here. I cut this all back. This has all been cut back. This is some place where, again, there's a caravan that they lived on, which I crushed with the digger. And if you take a look, there's an original piece of machinery just there. Over there. That is actually a potato lifter. An 1800s potato lifter. I'm looking forward to putting that somewhere in the middle of the building. It's quite an interesting machine. We pulled all this, I think this is birch. I may be wrong. This building is where the steam was. This is where they heated up the turbine that was fed by the water wheel, the second water wheel. The first one was done by manual water. This is done by more steam turbine. The turbine is no longer there, sadly, and it's replaced with, and I will show you. Yes, you're thinking a big reveal, aren't you? A boat called the Sloopy Doo. Inside there is a housing for that original thing. We're going to pull out Sloopy Doo and the couple of bikes that belonged and the outboard engines. I'll probably put that on to sell that boat on one of the local ads on Facebook possibly. But inside we intend to identify where the steam turbine actually was, the massive steam tank that was in here. In order to have a steam tank, what do you need? You need a fire, yeah. And how do we have a fire? Let me get this girl back, because I don't want anyone stealing my beautiful Sloppy Doo or Sloopy Doo boat. I want to make some money on that. Let me just get that. Cool, like heavy lump. So, come on right here and see the big fire. This is where we have waste. The previous occupants, all they done, and it just kills me every time to see this. This is a slate we don't have much of anymore. This is called a Bangor Blue. It's from Wales. The Welsh done this beautiful slate. Back in the old days, this is what everyone put there, how they made their roofs. Now we have concrete, and we've concrete, and we've fiberglass, and we've rubber, all sorts of tiles. But this is the quality. Bangor Blues or Irish Greys. Now, there's a company's bought this specific area over, and now it would cost you in around £5 to £7 a tile to replace them girls. What the previous occupant did was, when they fell off the roof because he didn't secure them, he just basically dumped them and smashed them down here in a massive pile, which I now have moved with the digger over to the side of the land. This all used to be full of Bangor Blue tiles. Just thousands of them broken into shatters, you know? Crazy, crazy, crazy. The cost, I mean, there's probably 10 grand sitting there in bits. And that is bad entrepreneurship. You save. You save and you store for things like this when it comes to things like this. So this big building, she was built during the time when they had to extend the property into the steam version. And in there was where the big tank used to be that used to pressure the machinery. What a class act this was. And here is The je ne sais quoi, just the finale, the beautiful piece. Look at this for architectural marvels. Gorgeous carved granite stone. Now, the fire's lit, wasn't done by me, all by the previous occupant. He used it to burn his rubbish, daily I assume, and has built up this massive carbon. This has to be all cleaned off. This girl's getting restored. It's going to get repointed with the same lime mortar that I talked about. But if you look up above, look at that gorgeous red brick, or brown brick even. And that goes up to a gold limestone. It's amazing. It's a sandstone, I think. I haven't seen it exactly, I haven't found out what it is, but look at the sheer scale. Go up there and look at the sheer scale of what height we have to go with the scaffolding. Just an amazing piece of architecture. As you can see, in order to bed them, they used to put the Bangor blue slates. They were that cheap. They bedded them with a lime mortar and a Bangor blue slate, and I assume it was to protect a drop. So when they put that stone on top, it secured it. What a class act. Okay, so we're at the back of the new mill. Call it the new old mill. This wall is the foundation or the stone that carries the water from the water reservoir down a massive chute. It was made of cast iron. Gigantic. I would say about 24 to 30 inches in diameter. Took the water down at a fast rate into the, I would assume, again, it was a cast iron water wheel. I have found one that's currently not working, and I may acquire it. It belongs to it's an old broken down water wheel. I would like to acquire it off them and bring it here and install it into this place. Seems to be the same size as what I roughly foresee this one to be. But this is another structure that carried a lot of water. When we get it all cleared back, you'll see the totalitarian of its magnitude and the sheer scale of it. It's massive. Goes all the way back, and it went forever, all the way into that farmer's ground who's now demolished it. Sadly, demolished it. It must have been an expensive build at the time. I'm sure it cost no more than £1,000 back then. So, in this girl is the fire. It's all overgrown again. We managed quite well to pull this all away. The ivy's gone, near enough anyway, but there were the fire was made here. So this used to be a smoking chimney, and the fire used to be massive. In there, the fire was lit, and it heated up the pipes that drew the water into the steam turbine that then moved the machinery in that room, and the next, and the next, and it drew with the water well. I would say that both of them moved together in harmony, in symbiance. All the mechanics were joined together. I'm sure they had a gearing system to disconnect the water and another one to disconnect the hydraulics so they could run both individually and together. A gearing system, I'm absolutely sure of it. Sadly, it's all gone. There it is. That's us, mate.